Good evening. A teeming mass of black and white has gathered to celebrate Collingwood's resounding grand final win over St Kilda. 20,000 fans made the most of a glorious spring day, packing Gosh's paddock to celebrate the club's first premiership in 20 years.
It's the song that hasn't stopped playing for 24 hours. As far as the eye could see, black and white covered Gosh's paddock.
Welcome to Collingwood!
After a 20-year wait, the Army came to welcome the Cup and their players home.
This one goes out to all you out there.
I don't care what happens from now. I'm going to the grave a very happy person.
I want to go around again. Let's do game number 3.
It was a mutual admiration society.
The football club's only as good as the strength of its army. And how many armies are as strong as that of Collingwood? None.
Both fans and players were sporting the scars of celebrations.
Here's the voice to come. This is awesome.
Ecstatic would be one word, I suppose. Hungover would be another one.
Premiers, baby!
Yeah, got a pie! Got a pie!
Even junior pies knew what it was all about.
They win.
And the team won more adulation after revealing Alan Didak had ripped his pec muscle from his shoulder in round 21.
That's why one's tough and the other one's sloppy. But what an amazing effort.
After enduring years of jokes about missing teeth, it was the ultimate payback for fans.
Stuff the jokes. But who's joking now, eh?
Small pies filled the jumping castle while others queued for their moment with the cup.
Go boys!
The club's cheer squad leader has become a celebrity in his own right.
It's not my gold jacket, this is everyone's gold jacket.
And there's nothing like a premiership to make the accountant happy. Merchandise was the hottest accessory on the paddock.
And can I also get one of the posters? Yep.
Even the Premier was just another delirious Collingwood fan.
Sweet relief, I guess. It was just a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
But he was frustrated too at the thousands of empty members' seats at the MCG.
There's lots of people who would just love to get a ticket to the footy. You know, it'd be their greatest dream in life, to a grand final, and they can't.
And nothing says I love you, Collingwood, better than a premiership tattoo.
I was meant to be here last week.
Riff Raff Tattoos owner Georgia Vivian came in this morning to 15 messages about inking the win.
Collingwood supporters are definitely devoted.
And while their first premiership in 20 years has been theirs for just 24 hours, passionate Pies supporters are already saying this is just the start of the football dynasty.
Come on, let's do it again next year.
Laurel Irving, 7 News.
Collingwood fans began celebrating even before the siren had sounded, and many haven't stopped. After 20 years without a premiership, the Pies partied all night long, and police say most were well behaved.
In an empty MCG, the Magpies savoured a moment alone. It was the calm before the storm, with thousands of fans waiting at Amy Park for their boys to arrive. It was an ocean of flag-waving groupies, as last-minute entertainer Lionel Richie warmed up the crowd.
Magpies are out of control tonight.
And the faithful didn't need an excuse. But this was the main act.
I get sick to death of the Collingwood supporters getting belted by the other 15 sides.
Everyone said we don't have teeth.
Winners were grinners.
The league is off!
And dancers, with Alan Didak doing his own victory shimmy. The team then kicked on to the official function at South Wharf.
It grew from the slums of Collingwood. Now is the most successful and the Premiership Club in the whole of Australia.
On Smith Street, black and white was the uniform. The song was still the same, but the intensity was sky high. Many weren't even born when the Pies last won 20 years ago. Others have been waiting since to drag out this ensemble. Fans were dancing on rooftops and toilet blocks. There were 33 patrons arrested in a blitz on pubs and clubs in the CBD. Police swooped on 100 premises, targeting drugs, alcohol and antisocial behaviour. Things turned ugly after midnight, but during the big game, it was a different story.
Police have heaped
praise on fans from both sides. Despite a crowd of almost 94,000, only 10 people were ejected from the MCG for unruly behaviour. And inside today, future stars got their chance to kick on the hallowed turf and get some practice lifting the Premiership Cup. Mia Greaves, 7 News.
Far more sombre scenes at Moorabbin today, where the St Kilda faithful gathered to mourn another cup that got away. Their 44-year premiership drought will stretch to at least 45 after having their grand final hopes crushed 3 times in just over a year.
Yesterday's loss flattened many Saints supporters, most of whom are yet to taste premiership success.
I think I'm about one of the few people that have been to the only grand finals they've won. I was only one at the time.
But if there were few smiles at the club's family day, there was plenty of loyalty.
Even though the Saints might have lost yesterday, they're still winners to us.
Just had to show the support, even though they didn't make it this time.
And despite some brave words...
So much celebration, really. So many happy faces, really.
Even the rapturous reception for the defeated Saints couldn't lift their spirits.
You know, I think our hurt is obvious to see, and we're all hurting, and we're all part of the St Kilda Football Club, and we're all devastated in a sense, but I think we acknowledge that we...
There's no alibis, no excuses as far as we're concerned. We're as well prepared as can be. We're as well coached as any team in the competition. We're as well drilled and as disciplined as anyone. You know, in the end, we just weren't good enough on the day.
Those who came today were enthusiastic, but the general atmosphere was summed up in the comments of a staff member who told me we were expecting 25,000, but we were expecting a cup as well.
Devastated, but oh well, there's always next year.
This is the wake. After 40 years, I'm getting used to it.
Dean Felton, 7 News.
And north of the border, Sydney is caught up in its own footy fever tonight with the NRL Grand Final underway in front of a sellout crowd at Olympic Park. A short time ago, the Sydney Roosters were leading the St George Illawarra Dragons. We'll have highlights later in sport. An Australian digger serving in Afghanistan has personally pleaded with Julia Gillard for more support during her surprise visit to the war-torn country. On her first overseas trip in the top job, Ms Gillard reaffirmed the government's commitment to the increasingly controversial war.
Julia Gillard touched down at Australia's base in Tarancot just in time for the footy.
I know that the most important event of today is not my visit, it's the grand final. I understand that.
After watching the teams do battle on the field,
This is homemade,
attention turned to the real battlefield.
It's a long way down.
It's quite a step, isn't it?
Quite a step.
With the death toll rising, the Prime Minister was forced to respond to recent calls from the front line and opposition for more troops.
If more support is going to be coming, do you have a time frame?
Oh well, we review continuously.
She could only offer a tribute to the 21 fallen diggers and reaffirm her government's commitment to the war.
Thank you for everything that you're doing here. Thank you for the bravery you're showing while you do it.
Bravery which earned high praise from the man in charge of the war, NATO Commander David Petraeus.
Their capabilities are very impressive.
Afghan President Hamid Karzai also offered his personal thanks.
Most welcome, Madam Prime Minister. Welcome to Afghanistan.
The Prime Minister's now on her way here to Brussels, where Afghanistan will feature prominently during her 2-day visit. As well as meeting with NATO's Secretary-General to discuss the war, she'll also attend the Asia-Europe meeting, which starts tomorrow. In Brussels, Alex Hart, 7 News.
Retailers are warning a predicted interest rate rise on Tuesday could be disastrous. They say trade is already down because of political uncertainty and shoppers need time to trust the minority government.
We just like the Reserve Bank to just give a little bit more time just to see how the retailers in specifics go.
Economists are tipping a rise of 0.25% when the Reserve Bank Board meets on Tuesday. An estimated 100,000 police and security guards are stationed around New Delhi ahead of the Commonwealth Games opening ceremony. But with just hours to go, another Australian athlete has pulled out. Nick McCallum is there. Nick, why has Mark Renshaw decided to withdraw?
A rebellion team